Blessed ones of the nations of the world. One more time, thus as your brother Dan Moses or say our Sakodie of TRC Ghana, coming to you this 10th of March 2022 with the continuation of our exposés, Testimony, New World, Disorder, special series, Humanity, they are coming after our souls. We have received part 93. It's going to be part 94. Humanity, they are coming after our souls. Part 94. We urge you to watch them chronologically from expose 1. Humanity, they are coming after our souls. World to expose from 1 down to 94 and beyond. And we must understand that this is going to be what to do. We have received part 93 and Joe Biden and Nana Addo Akufo. The Supreme Court of Ghana know that they can fool some people sometimes, but they cannot fool we the people of Ghana, we the people of America, we the people of the nations of the world all the time. Blessed ones, Akwaba to the program, Testimony, New World Disorder. Even as we want to remind Joe Biden that he cannot continue to fool America all the time. You can't continue to fool the people of Ghana all the time. We want to remind Joe Biden that the ugliness and the dirtiness and the disregard of his disregard for his constitution and international law in doing the ugly bits of his kingmakers and the U.S. undercover agent at the expense of humanity and the nations of the world. It is all because he knows, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo know that their presidency are stolen presidencies. Joe Biden's presidency is a stolen presidency. It didn't belong to him. Nana Addo Akufo-Addo's presidency is a stolen presidency. America, that is why, that is what the American people are not ignorant of. That is why on the 6th of January 2021, the people of the nation stood up in a total tumult against the U.S. House of Congress. It is because the American people know that the presidency of Joe Biden, which was given to him under the approval of the God of the African, it was the presidency of another man, His Excellency Joe Biden, which was stolen for him. And Joe Biden, after taking the stolen presidency, has no choice than to do the ugly bit of his kingmakers. That is what has happened ever since my return to America. So America, don't be surprised. He was put there as a puppet to do the ugly bit of the kingmakers. Elizabeth and Grace should never worry. It is okay for the terrorism that has been committed against their father and his dear nation. Nana Addo Akufo-Addo's presidency was a stolen presidency. That is why America, on the 7th of January, after your Congress was descended on the 7th of January, you saw courageous soldiers of Ghana in defense of freedom and justice descending on the Parliament of Ghana. We also saw that. So Ghana, we want to tell Nana Addo Akufo-Addo and his administration, Joe Biden and the administration, that we know the reason why they have dealt so wickedly and evil to the Ghanaian people and to humanity up to this very time. In spite the Supreme Court at the back of my tortured and abducted child, Elizabeth, rubber stamped the stolen presidency for Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. March 20. Despite the rubber stamp, the stolen presidency for Nana Addo the guilt hanging on their minds and on their conscience has continued to haunt them to have engaged in travesty of justice. Just yesterday, the 9th of March 2022, the same Supreme Court of Ghana, because they must sweep up every ugly bit under the carpet and strangulate the Ghanaian people with what the Bible has said in the book of Daniel. Taxes upon taxes. The robbers of the people must heap taxes on the Ghanaian, unbearable taxes. So the Ghanaian feel so distressed, oppressed, repressed, discomfort that they are not able to hold the corrupt Supreme Court, corrupt government, bribe-taking judges, willful terrorism cover-up judges and government accountable, so that the distress would not even give them the opportunity to focus on their own, the helplessness of their children, because they are not even able to focus on their own helplessness. But Ghana, we know all these are a part of it. And we want to appeal to humanity and the nations of the world that from this time forth, they must, in the defense of the anthem of Ghana, from every single nation of the world, begin to resist the government of Nana Addo Akufo peacefully, non-weaponry, non-violent. Resist is the word. It is a legal word in the legal document of Ghana, the national anthem. It calls on Ghana to resist oppressors' rule, coward secret killing, the medical terrorism, the selling of a Ghanaian as a slave. We begin to resist from America, Canada, United Kingdom, Ukraine, Russia, China, Europe, Australia, every single of the nation. We resist the government that the African be returned back to his blessed land peacefully, non-weaponry, non-violently. If they should talk about the nonsense of demanding a COVID test from the Ghanaian, what we tell them is, Ghana, what we tell them, we tell Akufo-Addo and his government, the same medical doctor that Akufo-Addo used to commit medical terrorism to kill His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, that same medical doctor committed the medical terrorism against me with the vaccine. So we heed no word from them. We demand my peaceful return to the land of Ghana. Humanity and the nations, we can do this and tell them that all men are created equal. We will not let our souls be taken over. We will not let them divert our attention with whatever is happening between Russia and Ukraine. Now there is total calm in Canada, Europe, France, and many parts of the world where there was total tumult. Now they have had the situation of Russia and Ukraine, and it is enough to divert our attention, but our attention is not getting diverted. Medical terrorism has been committed. We demand accountability. Akwaba to the program, Testimony, World Disorder. We are on what to do. Humanity and the nations of the world. We are on the side of we, the people of Ghana and the nation Ghana. We are on the side of we, the people of America and the nation America. We are on the side of we, the people of the nations of the world, and on the side of humanity. We are on the side of God, and God is on our side. We are on the side of the United Nations. And We know the difference between Ban Ki-moon and the United Nations. We know the difference between Gabriel Jesus, the World Health Organization boss, and the World Health Organization. We know the difference between so we understand that we are together in this. So we have to know what to do. What to do is in the face of the many challenges of the nations of the world, Ghana, humanity, and the nations of the world. Ghana, problems created by Nana Addo Akufo for his nation and for humanity. What we have to do is we are in John chapter 6, is to gain mastery over the water bodies of the nations of the world. I say it again, what to do? God calling on us to gain mastery over the water bodies on the surface of the earth. And that would help us break through. That is part of our solution to what we are facing. Let us gain mastery over the oceans of the world. Jesus gained mastery over the water bodies of the earth. I read from John chapter 6. I read verse 1, and then we shall skip to other verses. After these things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee. Sea of Galilee. Let's underline Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias. Let's move on to 12. This is after the multitudes have followed him. He has made them feel comfortable on the grass. He has fed them as his own servants with his disciples. Let's read on what happened. When they were filled, he said unto his disciples, gather up the fragments that remain, that nothing be lost. Ghana, so when I come, we have more to talk about this for the sake of our land. But for now, we continue. Remember, I said that gather up the fragments that remain, that nothing be lost. That is what we have read. Ghana, you have a lot to be uncovered to you here. Therefore, they gathered them together and filled 12 baskets with fragments of 5 barley loaves, which remained over and above unto them that had eaten. We continue. Then those men, when they had seen the miracles that Jesus did, said, this is of a truth that prophet that should come into the world. You have eaten his bread. So now you are testifying that he is the Son of God. He's the very prophet that the Bible has said he will come into the world. But Jesus knows you. Let's go on. When Jesus therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force, and I am by force, to make him a king, he departed again into a mountain himself alone. Ghana, we have a lot to learn about your mountains, your valleys, our plains, and our grasslands, our vegetative covers. We have a lot to share about that when we come. But let's take notice of this. Let's move on. For now, we are talking about gaining mastery over the water bodies of the surface of the earth. And when evening was now come, I'm reading from the King James Version. I know the noble people of United Kingdom are saying that, go African. Thank you for having mercy on My friend John, he was being hungry. The son of John, he saw that his own mess was catching up with him, and then now he has a little window of opportunity to sweep his mess under the table of under the carpet of Russia, Ukraine. See, yeah, but he knows you are watching closely, and God is watching closely too. Son of John, hi, United Kingdom, son of John, the father of Elizabeth, noble and dignified, the mother of John the Baptist. And Africa, let's go on. And when evening was come, his disciples went down onto the sea and entered into a ship and went over the sea towards Capernaum. And it was now dark, and Jesus was not come to them. Jesus was not returned to the disciples. Okay, let's go on. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. We must gain mastery over the water bodies because there comes a time that the winds of the sea arises. And sometimes we wist not. We recorded it in 2005, Indonesia. We called it a wave of death, which troubled Indonesia. We saw it when it hit in Japan, destroying the nuclear reactors. Very terrible situation. We need to gain mastery over the water, but we'll get there. Let's go. And the sea arose by reason of a great wind that blew. So they had rowed about 25 or 30 furlongs. They see Jesus walking on the sea and drawing near unto the ship, and they were afraid. When they saw Jesus walking on the sea, they have never seen such a thing in the world before. His own disciples, let's underline, they were afraid. Just like many people of many nations of the world have aquaphobia. They have a phobia of the oceans, of the rivers, and of the valleys, while others have gained mastery over the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the valleys, the falls, FALL, waterfalls, springs, ponds. Let's go on. He said unto them, it is I. Jesus said unto them, it is I. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately, let's underline immediately, the ship was at the land whither they went. Ghana, you have a lot to receive when it comes to immediately the ship was at the land. For the sake of our Titirimum, Tabumum, noble people that have been abandoned by the states, and yet they feed the nation with fish, and they are left on the mercies of the water bodies to go through all kinds of unimaginable situations and face death on the waters. Ghana, we have a lot to share when I come. Let's move on. The day following, when the people which stood on the other side of the sea, so let's end on 20. But he said unto them, it is I. 21. Then they willingly received him into the ship, and immediately the ship was at the land whither they went. Aquaba to the program testimony and the nations of the world. According to the program testimony, New World Disorder, Humanity, and the Nations of the world. A little pain, but it's okay. We need to get this insight, information, understanding that the entire surface of the earth, we have as much as 70% of the surface of the earth that is filled with water, covered with water. If you have seen the globe before, all the continents, 5 continents, Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, and the American continent, all of the continents, the land mass, the mountains, the valleys, the ridges, the plateaus, the plains, the vegetative covers on the land, they all come to approximately like 30% of the total surface of the earth. Like 70% of the earth's surface is filled with water. That calls on every member of the human race to, on the need to, do what Jesus did. Gain mastery over the water bodies and over water while he was here. Jesus, before he shared the 5 loaves and 2 fishes to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude, we must remember that he tactically, purposely, willfully went over the Sea of Galilee, Tiberias. He went over that sea before the multitude followed, and he went to sit on a mountain. Okay. He took their minds on the water body. You read it in the Bible, so we know that it happened. Okay. The fish, 2 fish, which was blessed by Jesus and was distributed to the bellyful multitude who are still hungry, not for the word, but for bread and fish. Those 2 fishes, which was blessed by Jesus, they did not come from the soil, the grass on which Jesus made them to sit. The bread, 5 loaves of bread, they came out of the earth. They did not come from didn't come from the ocean, from the water. Bread, that which is used to produce bread, whether wheat or cassava or whatever, cassava bread or potato bread or whatever, it doesn't come from the sea. They come from the grass, from the field, the soil. They are grown. All right. The fish came from the sea. However, there were the adults, mothers and fathers, who knew not that they must gain mastery over the water bodies, over the sea. But an innocent child, a young child, had that wisdom and had what came out of the sea in his hands when he was present among the multitude. He was fully prepared. An individual that knew who he was and knew what the use of the water body, had the product of the water body in his hands. Akufo to the program, testimony, the word disorder. That which came from the sea, from the 30% of the water bodies of the surface of the earth. That's what was taken by Jesus, blessed, and was used to feed the over 5,000 multitude, the over 8 billion on the surface of the earth. That we understand that the 8 billion on the surface of the earth, all the fish that we need, there is more than enough in the rivers, in the lakes, in the ponds, in the oceans, more than we need in the ocean for us. And it is the wisdom that we would use to get the fish out of the ocean that is lacking. It is the wisdom that greed of gathering the fish of the ocean, the fish of the ponds, the fish of the lakes, the fish of the rivers onto a few people to waste it and dump them in tons every day as a waste. That wisdom to curtail that greed is what is lacking. Akwaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder. Ghana and the nations of we are saying that Jesus, while he was here, he understood the use and importance of water. We are talking about water. Go to John chapter 2, and you realize that when he was at the wedding feast, when they were lacking wine, Jesus would have to let them know that you are lacking wine. You have no longer wine to drink. That water, that wine that you are lacking, just like there are people that were hungry for fish and didn't know that fish come from the sea. That water, that wine that you are lacking at this feast comes from water. Water can be converted into wine. And Jesus taught them that wisdom. That, hey, America, hey, Europe, Asia, Australia, and of the nations, I have put so much wisdom here that we need to understand that so much water bodies on the surface of the earth. They are for the service of human consumption. They could be, if even it is not that kind of healthy for immediate human consumption, it could be treated for humanity to have enough to drink. Oh, the same water, when it has been treated, could be converted, mixed with other non-harmful and consumable chemicals or additives and substances into various kinds of drinks. Just like Jesus turned into wine to serve the needs of humanity and of the nation. Jesus put the wisdom here by teaching it. It was the same water. Announcement. Humanity and the nation. Akufo to the program Testimony. You were growing as a child in Ghana. And even up to this very day. If you go to Ghana, Fanta, there is only one flavor, one straight flavor of Fanta, nothing else. You will not get the diet. You will not get any other flavor like maybe unlike we have in America, where we can have series of flavors of Fanta. When we take Coca-Cola, we have series of flavors of Coca-Cola. Ghana, we have it one straight. The Coca-Cola company know that. They know that they do it in Ghana. We have only one straight flavor of Coca-Cola. We don't have the zero. We don't have the diet. For generations, it doesn't exist. From the same water, they are able to make different flavors for other parts of the world. The same Coca-Cola company, the same Fanta company, the same Mountain Dew company. They don't have. How come they know how to use the same water for various flavors for other nations? But when it comes to some other nation, we don't know it. You understand? This is what the corporate bodies do. They collude with governmental forces and enslave their own people. Akufo to the program Testimony New World Disorder. You didn't hear me. I'm saying that there is the need for us to go to gain mastery, nations of the world to gain mastery over the water bodies, the oceans of the world. In fact, some have already gained that mastery. 2,000 years ago, when Jesus walked this earth, 2,000 years ago, the people of Jesus Christ had gained mastery over the oceans to the point of using ships and boats at that time. When was the first time your nation acquired the first ship or boat of your nation? When was it? When was the first time? 19 what? 2,000 years ago. Others of the same earth have understood the need for them to gain mastery over the water bodies. And they have advanced so much. There are some nations that have advanced so much to the point that they understood that Jesus sat in a ship. And immediately, the ship arrived from the deep waters onto the land. They understand that the world in which we are, human beings have become so sophisticated, so dangerous to each other, that if you don't gain the wisdom of making the ship, making the submarine, beside the ship that you see, there are some cities in the world. The ships they own the ships in thousands, while there are other nations of the world. I'm talking about cities, some cities in the world. They own ships in thousands. We're talking about passing ships that carry luggages, that carry cargo, They have ships that carry passing human beings. They have ships that carry tourists, oceanic tourism. You understand? They have ships, warships. And there are some nations of the world, they have still not understood the importance of the water bodies. So even one ship, they'll have to beg, like another Akufo, from another country for one ship. Akwa to the program, testimony, the world disorder. We are still just scratching on the surface. We are not talking about spiritual things that you say that this thing that he's talking, we don't understand. There were many times that Jesus, my Lord, brought his people to the earth when he has spoken to them spiritual. We are talking about ship reality. You understand? We are talking about submarines. In some part of the world, they see other nations, when their citizens go to the harbor, they see other nations come with their vessels, dock on the surface of the water. But they never know that underneath the water body are various oceanic vessels that explore the waters of the nation. They don't know. All they have seen is a boat or maybe canoe. But underneath the waters, some have gone very, very, very far. With underneath oceanic vessels that move with an unthinkable speed. They exist because they understand that 70% of the surface of the earth is filled with water. So we cannot make it remain a waste, abandoned, neglected. Jesus, when he started walking on the water, was a shock to his disciples. It has never happened before. Preacher, I'm not saying that go and walk on the water. That is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that as far back as 2,000 years ago, Jesus could walk on the surface of the water. And as was teaching this generation, that if we have courage, we would come out with various water boards that we see people, fellow human beings, maneuvering, gaining mastery over tornadoes, waves of the sea, and having amazing game over the surface of the waters. If you go to some part of the world, huh, rivers, lakes, we have cities being now built on water bodies. Cities, not on land, on water bodies. You want to come from your home, there is a pathway wooden board that leads to your home. Uh, there's a boat, little boat that you can maneuver to go to other places. They are building cities on water. 30% of the surface of the earth is filled with uh, uh, vegetation, mountains, and all kinds of all the mountain valleys, hills that we use. Only 30%. And we keep fussing and fighting over the land. And we have neglected the 70% of the surface of the land, surface of the earth that is filled with water, that God has made it abundant for us. There are various aquatic animals in the water that could be harnessed, that could be fished to serve the needs of humanity. We have abandoned it. And some are so busy destroying the water bodies, like we have Nana Addo under the guise of seizing galamsey. You understand? Galamsey is mining, small scale mining, where he has banned small scale mining, galamsey, illegal forms of mining, and yet he is opening the door for his own political gurus and paving the way for them to loot the gold and turn the water bodies into dead waters. That they begin to tie water in tiny bottles. So much water that is abounding for the Ghanaian people and for your nation for us to have it for free. We have enough water that we should never go testing on the surface of the earth. Go to my nation. By the times that we used to drink water for free. Now, a politician knows that he has enough to afford. So when he tie it and begin to sell to the people like we have in America, he will make a lot of money. So he tells you you need to get polytank in your homes because you can no longer produce water for the people to drink. That's nonsense. How much percentage of the surface of the earth is filled with water? Ghana abounds in too much water, which is being destroyed by the government and his gurus. We have the same thing happening in other nations where now rivers, while people are building cities on rivers, making some amazing achievements in underground water bodies. You understand? Making huge fish cuts with boats and vessels to feed the needs of their exporting them to other nations. Some, their wisdom is they are beginning to buy sections of lakes. This part of the lake, this part of the same river, I bought it. Nobody can if you come to that part of the water, you have trespassed. River, a river, greed has gotten to the point of people buying sections of rivers, lakes, ponds. Let's end here. We shall continue some other time. Ghana, we have a lot to receive. That is why you must demand my peaceful and weapon and violent return to the land of Ghana. We talk about what? Basi what? We tell them the same doctor that killed Jerry John Rawlings. He terrorized me medically with my vaccine. Humanity and the nations, we have prevailed because we are more than conquerors. Christ in us, the hope of glory. God bless you. And God bless my homeland, Ghana. Joe, stolen presidency. Nana, stolen presidency.